This video is being created to help students answer the question, how did this particular section from the article contribute to Eleanor Roosevelt's impact on society? Below this question, you'll see a small section that I copied from the article about Eleanor Roosevelt's life. My goal is to be able to analyze this section and see how it fits in with the other sections of the text. Because the text is organized chronologically or by time, I am able to look at the events that took place before this particular section and the events that took place after this particular section. To begin, I'm going to create a flowchart. In my flowchart, first I am going to include the parts from the passage in the middle parts of my flowchart, and then I'm going to include what came before this particular section, and then what happened after. So, this portion says, meanwhile, Eleanor had changed. To keep Franklin in the public eye while he was recovering, she had gotten involved in politics herself. It was, she thought, her duty. From childhood, she had been taught to do the thing that has to be done the way it has to be done when it has to be done. After becoming interested in the problems of working women, she gave time to the Women's Trade Union League. It was through the WTUL that she met a group of remarkable women doing exciting work that made a difference in the world. They taught Eleanor about life in the slums. They awakened her hopes that something could be done to improve the condition of the poor. She dropped out of the fashionable society of her wealthy friends and joined the world of reform, social change. So, I decided to kind of break this particular section apart into two chunks here. First, I know that it says, to keep Franklin in the public eye while he was recovering, she had gotten involved in politics herself. What this is saying is that FDR had gotten polio, and then he was immobile, he couldn't move around, and so Eleanor herself got involved in politics so that she could sort of be his eyes and ears while he wasn't working. So I put that in here. FDR becomes president, but because he is immobile, Eleanor has the chance to inform him about what's going on in the world. And then afterwards, in this bottom paragraph, the key part here is she joined the world of reform, social change. So I put down here, Eleanor gets involved in politics and becomes involved in social change, such as helping the poor, women's rights, etc. So what had to have happened before these particular sections? Well, I know that Eleanor had a difficult life when she was a child, and she overcame that. And I know that when she got married, her husband had a difficult beginning to his life in terms of his professional life because he got so sick. So I'm going to include those two events and combine them before my flowchart begins. So at the beginning here, Eleanor has a difficult life, but overcomes the challenges. When her husband gets polio, she helps him overcome his own challenges. See how that then relates to the next one? Because he has to get polio for him to then be immobile, for Eleanor to sort of get into the public eye, for her to start getting really involved and making a difference. And then it leads to what happens towards the end of the article. Once Eleanor joins the world of reform, she helps with racial and religious equality. She eventually helps draft the Declaration of Human Rights for the United Nations. So it's important to see how just this passage, these two little paragraphs, are really important in the structure of the entire text, and how what comes before it and what comes after it are very purposeful in how the article is written. So finally, I take my flowchart and I'm going to transfer these ideas into a paragraph. So the question again was, how did this particular section from the article contribute to Eleanor Roosevelt's impact on society? And here is my response. This particular section of the article, Eleanor Roosevelt, contributes to Eleanor's impact on society by showing her involvement in the world of reform. Prior to this section, Eleanor had a difficult childhood where she had to overcome several obstacles. When her husband gets polio, she encourages him to overcome his own obstacles by staying active. While her husband recovers, Eleanor has a perfect opportunity to get involved with politics herself and inform her husband about large issues in the world. Although Eleanor could have easily participated in events that her wealthy friends enjoyed, Eleanor chose to involve herself in much more complicated endeavors. This section of the article is followed by a number of events that created a positive impact on society, such as her involvement with religious and racial prejudice, eventually leading to Eleanor's involvement in drafting the Declaration of Human Rights for the United Nations. To review, I read the question and read the passage closely. I created a flowchart to see what happened prior to this passage and what happened after. And then using that information, I made the connections so that I could answer the question, how did this particular section from the article contribute to Eleanor Roosevelt's impact on society?